Welcome to the Flourishing Workplace podcast. My name is Connie Jacob, and I am thrilled to have my special guest, Alex Brown, who is one of the most motivated, disciplined, incredible young people that I know. And when I say young, I don't mean like teenager young. I mean like Gen Z young, just young at heart, doing things that a lot of people his age aren't doing. And we need to listen up, adults. We need to listen to our young people because they are doing things. And I tell you, they're taking over the world. Welcome, Alex.
Oh, thank you for having me, Connie. I appreciate that introduction. Definitely setting the bar high, but the pressure's on.
The pressure's on. Well, you thrive under pressure. I've seen you. Alex is also an amazing rap artist, and so just so that everybody knows. But and when I say young, I always feel a little hesitant with saying that someone is young because I certainly don't ever want anyone to think that young means inexperienced or that there's not a lived experience. You have such a maturity and such a drive. You've done more before the age of 30 that I ever did. I think that what you do is outstanding. You just wrote a book, and I wanted to maybe start there with, what the name of your book is and why you wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, it's The Disciplined Mind, and this book was originally just a manuscript. It wasn't even supposed to be a full-length book in the sense that I was going to like publish it and release it for people to consume. It was something that I wrote for me just to prove to myself that I could actually do something, and like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I saw myself as incompetent or anything, but I'm a very goal-oriented person, and I just like to do stuff. I like to challenge myself and try different things. And so I was just like, okay, well, hey, what's something new that I could do that would be fun, that could be challenging and engaging? And I thought, like, write a book. And Connie, I'll tell you right now, like when I started writing it in May 2019. I thought it was going to take me like 6 months to write. I thought it was going to take me about 6 months to write. But as I continued on the process of, writing and editing and proofreading and rewriting and all of these things, and then, having to deal with a bunch of people when it came to other aspects of the book, like the cover, the front cover, the back cover, like all of these other components to it, it took me 2 years to get this book out. And I had no idea that it was going to take that long. And at the end of it, I was a lot more excited about it than I ever thought I was, because it took on a life of its own. It turned into this huge thing that I just, in my mind and in my life, that I never thought it would become. Like I said, it was like a mini side goal that I just kind of put off to the side. And everybody's been really enjoying it so far. I've had my friends tell me that they really enjoyed it. My family's telling me they really enjoyed it. There's a couple people in my Toastmasters club that really enjoyed it. It was so funny. There's this one dude, he's an older gentleman. And he called me up one day and we decided to go for a run. And that's why I love Toastmasters. Everyone's just, looking to improve and get better. And he calls me up and he wants to go for a run. And he starts telling me that he read through my book. And I don't know if you've ever heard, I think it's called Blinkist. It's an app. And have you ever heard of Blinkist before?
No.
No. Okay. So it's an app. And I guess apparently what you do is when you go through your ebooks, you can like highlight in your phone or your tablet certain passages that really resonate with you. And you put them in the app, and the app emails these passages to you throughout your day or periodically, whenever you set it up, whenever you want to receive these emails. And he showed me his Blinkist app and the emails he was getting. And I was really blown away because he had one that said like James Clear. I don't know if you know who James Clear is. Yeah, you do. Okay. He's an incredible author. His book Atomic Habits is absolutely amazing. It's probably one of the best self-help books that have come out within the past 5 years, in my opinion. And then right below James Clear, there was Alex Brown, The Disciplined Mind. I was just like, what? You gotta be kidding me. And I was like, I was honored. I couldn't believe that like my name was under an established author in somebody's phone. So it was a little thing, but it definitely, it was really incredible. And it made me feel amazing. And it made me feel great that somebody was getting value out of my work. So, but yeah, I wrote it originally just for myself. But then as I started adding information to it, I realized that a lot of things that I've been through in my life could definitely be beneficial to others. And so it definitely took on a lot more meaning as the process continued. So, but yeah, that's how it started.
That's incredible. I love hearing that. And it's so true. Writing a book is like birthing a child, a 2-year process of having it's quite the process. And I read your book. I loved it. I even am right now on a health journey because of your writing. It got me kicked in the butt. And I would love to talk a little bit about this idea of being motivated, being disciplined with things in our life. Like, why does this matter to someone's individual life?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of people today don't want to take responsibility for their life. And I can see why. It's easy to let things slide. It's easy to say, I'm going to watch Netflix instead of go to the gym. It's easy to say to yourself that, that staying in this job is a lot better than working on something on the side until I can build it up and do what I really love and enjoy. Like those things are easy. And, but the thing with those things is just, like, yeah, it's easy, but then there's a sense of loss within you. There's a sense of apathy and it's hard to describe. There's a sense of loss within you when you succumb to things that aren't beneficial to you in the long run. All right. And too many people are looking for that easy way out. And like, I'm not calling the kettle black here. I used to do that a lot when I was in high school and younger, and even into my early 20s, I was definitely like that a lot. So I'm not passing judgment, but like I can speak from this end because I've been on both sides of the fence. And so, yeah, and when we do that, when we abdicate responsibility and don't, take full ownership of our lives, then we get into this monotony, we get into this tedious rut where things stop being fun. Life stops becoming an adventure and it stops being this thing that it's supposed to be, which is fun. We're supposed to enjoy our lives. We're supposed to turn them into what it is that we want. And we're supposed to move forward in the direction that we want to go in. But we can't do that if we're not taking responsibility. And so it starts with motivation, because obviously we need that motivation. I mean, it's hard to do work when you're uninspired, and that's not an excuse not to do it, by the way, but like it's difficult, but the motivation gets you going. The motivation is that spark within you where you're just like, man, this is something I need to do. This is something I must do. This is something that just really is within me that I feel is necessary for my life. And when you have that within yourself, then it's like, okay, you're ready for action. But we all know, everyone knows that motivation is fleeting. It's something that comes and goes. It can't be relied upon. It really can't, but it's necessary to get the ball rolling. I always say that. It's necessary to get you started. And then, there comes discipline. And this is like the key component to everything in life. When I was writing this book, again, it took me 2 years to write it. Every single day I would wake up at 5 a.m. I would do my little workout routine and I would, do my workout. I would meditate. I would read for a little bit. And then about like 5:35, 5:40, I was working on my book every single morning. And I did that for about 6 months, six months every single day. All right. And then obviously like life gets in the way sometimes. So I couldn't keep up with that particular regime, but every single day I always fit it in, even if it was only 10, 15 minutes a day, wherever I could. And that was discipline. That was me saying, hey, you know what? I may not feel like doing it right now. I may be exhausted from work. I may have to go to the gym right now. I may have to meet up with some friends and family, so I don't have a lot of time, but let me just write a few sentences today. Let me just, write half a paragraph. It's going to take me half an hour to do. I can fit that in. I don't feel like it. It sucks. I'm tired. I'm exhausted, but I can do this because this is important. This means something. And it's necessary. It's a necessity. And that's discipline. It's being able to say to yourself, we're going to delay feeling good now so that we can feel amazing down the line. And when I released that book, Connie, I felt amazing down the line. So, and you can apply that to everything. And that's the basic premise. That's why it's important. You need that motivation to get you started, and then you need discipline to finish. So.
That's so good. I think about, workplaces and people who just need to know that their life matters and they need to be rekindled with purpose again. And what I love about what you've just said is that this is kind of where the rubber meets the road.
Yep.
In purpose, but also in mental health. Everybody wants to have great mental health. Nobody wants to be depressed. No one wants to be anxious. And yet there is, of course, a diagnosis. I don't deny that. And I'm all for whatever it takes medically to get people better. But what you're saying here is actually even the answer, in my opinion, to mental health, to have mental well-being. Just interviewed a guy named Kaylor Betts, who literally put into practice some of these things that you're saying. And he actually he used to suffer with depression and anxiety. And now he doesn't, because he put motivation and discipline into his life to create something different. And when I
Wow.
read your book, that's what I read. I was like, this is what we need,
Yeah.
especially as adults. We get cut in our rut. We grow
Yep.
up. We stop having fun. Everything's so
Mhm.
serious.
It's- Absolutely. Adults are cynical. Adults are cynical. Like, yeah, it's important to get reconnected to that childlike part of you, and it's hard because so many workplaces are not really conducive to that kind of way of showing up, so it's hard. And especially when you're in a soul-sucking job that every day you go to it and you do it begrudgingly and you just can't stand being in that office or whatever space you happen to be in doing that kind of work. It's really hard to stay connected to that. It's really hard to remain committed to your dreams when you feel like nothing's happening and you're going to that same workplace where you don't like your boss or you don't like the environment, you don't like your coworkers. And so it's tricky, there are a lot of things people can do, but again, it just comes down to things people wanting to take that easy way out and not taking responsibility, and so at the end of the day, it's just about finding a way to enjoy those little things, and then again, taking ownership of your life and finding a way to steer it in the direction that you want it to go in.
Yes. Yes. Taking responsibility.
Mhm.
We were just talking before I hit record, and we were talking about a little personal goal I have right now of losing some weight. Every middle-aged woman's dilemma.
I'm
And
so proud of you, Connie. Sorry to interrupt. I just had to say I'm so proud of you for just like getting on it and actually making some headway with that. Like I saw that Instagram post with you putting the X through it, and I was just like, yes, that's my girl right there. Get it, Connie.
well, and it was your book that inspired me to do that, to take responsibility for my health as an adult instead of going, oh, getting up there in my 40s, I guess this is just normal. We gain
Yeah.
weight. It's hard to lose weight. I guess it's just the way it is. And I really value that, what you just said. No, take responsibility. Now, maybe I'll never be like a size 2. That's not my goal, but to be healthy and
Yeah.
to be sharp mentally and to be able to do the things that are on my heart and dreams that I have to build a company, doing these things. I mean, this takes more than just what we read in a book or like on an Instagram post. It really is about what you've said. It's about the discipline, the daily showing up to these things. And
Yep.
yeah, do I feel crappy when I can't have my sugar for the first week? Yes. I didn't realize what a sugar addict I am. But now I feel so much better, and I don't even want to go back, because if I go back, I know it's a slippery slope. I
Yep.
feel good right now. And I think that in terms of the listeners, whatever that goal is for you, that to know that, like, you taking responsibility for your life, we can create things that are so much better in our families, in our personal lives. We can live the life that we always wanted to. One of our things at Flourishing is we're like, do you want to be resilient or do you want to flourish? You
Uh-huh.
can be miserable and be resilient. Like, I know a lot of people are resilient. They're fighters. They've overcome tons of stuff, but they're miserable. Or do we want to flourish?
Yeah.
And so what you talk about is the steps to actually creating a flourishing life.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. No, yeah, I think that's an amazing concept, being able, because like there is being resilient, and like that's a great quality to have. You actually need that in life. You need that in life to get through. But like being resilient, I feel like that's definitely a form of also just maintaining, just kind of maintaining the status quo where you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're comfortable, if you're happy with where you are, then all the more power to you. But when you want to flourish, when you want to grow beyond where you currently are, and when you want to experience more and you want to have more, I think right there, that's the real key to happiness and fulfillment. Yeah, Tony Robbins has a great quote that I absolutely love, and he says, what does he say? He says, "Progress equals happiness." And so when you're making progress in your life, when you're flourishing, because that's what making progress is, you're growing, you're becoming better, you're learning, you're flourishing. That's when you're going to be the most excited about your life. That's when you're going to be the most happy, and that's also when you're going to be the most fulfilled. And it's going to spill over into everything else that you do and everybody else that you meet. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
And I know you've been a part of the workforce, and now you're venturing off in entrepreneurship and doing all sorts of fun things. And based on your own experience, in the workplace and just watching people in general, what do you think would help the workplace when it comes to being like creating that kind of motivation and discipline?
Um, yeah, that's a great question. I would definitely say first and foremost, it would be beneficial for employers, at least in my personal opinion, to try to find work in any way that they can that is more aligned with their employees' natural talents and abilities. And that's definitely a tall order. I feel, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but I feel if they really took the time to figure out what their employees are naturally good at, the things that they, are kind of drawn to and attracted to, and really just found a way to fit them into a certain line of work that aligns with that. Because if you're trying to, like, for example, if like I worked in construction for a long time, I was like doing a bunch of labor work and everything like that, and I never liked that. Like the money was good, but I just didn't like it. It wasn't fulfilling. The thing that I always loved was words. I had a passion for words like all the time. That's how I got into rapping and putting the words together with that, public speaking, and now writing and all of this. I always loved words. When I was failing every class in school, I always kicked ass in language arts. It was great. And so that was my thing. That was what I really enjoyed. And so it, like, this is again just an example, but if they were like to take the time to figure that out about me and then place me in a role where, say, like, I don't know, some kind of administrative role where I was like dealing with documents or something like that, or maybe if I was like helping them grow their online presence through blogging and using that avenue, like I would have been a hell of a lot more useful in that regard. And I think learning to take that same principle and applying it in different avenues could be really helpful, because your workers are going to be more engaged. They're going to be doing something that they love and enjoy, and they're going to be more inclined to show up and put in more of an effort, because again, it comes down to them doing things that they really have a passion for. And I don't see that a lot in companies, and especially in the ones that I've worked for. That was non-existent. And there was another, because like, yeah, when you're doing that, when you're trying to force somebody into a role that doesn't like serve them in any way, or doesn't align with them in any intrinsic or visceral level, you're basically trying to fit like a square peg into a round hole. Like you can try and fit that sucker in there all day long, it's not going to fit. And then the second thing I would say is listen to your employees when it comes to, like, try to get them to contribute in other ways than just besides the work. Because if you are taking, certain contributions or certain ideas or notions from people that are working for you, and you're able to implement them, that they're going to feel much more connected to your business. They're going to feel much more connected and loyal to you. And they're going to want to show up and do more because their contributions are being valued. They're being accepted, and then many times they'll be implemented as well. It doesn't mean you need to implement every single idea that the person says, that every employee says. You might have a sinking ship if that were the case, but like, it's just the idea of you listening to them, hearing what they're saying, addressing their concerns, and taking some of that feedback and using it to create a better workspace. So
Yes.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I agree fully. And I think that any employer that can think outside of just the box and think like that, I think you're right. They're going to have a company that goes beyond what they ever could have imagined. That's incredible. No, thank you for that. And thank you for being on the podcast. You have such insight, and you're an inspiration, and we're going to make sure that your book, the link to your book and all of your social handles are in the show notes, everyone. So be sure to follow Alex, because he's doing incredible things. And if you need a role model for all the young people in your workplace, you send them right to him. And to be honest, I learn from Alex on the daily. His weekly YouTubes, his weekly blogs, they speak to me. And so give him a follow, like what he does, because it's incredible. Thanks so much for being here, Alex.
Thank you, Connie. I appreciate you.